As you browse through these different job postings, seeing various companies and their respective job descriptions, you'll start to get a sense of what feels right and what feels a little bit wrong. Hey guys, Recruiter Preston here. I'm a professional recruiter in the technology industry. So with all the layoffs that have been happening, people searching for new jobs is really at an all-time high. And naturally, this means job postings have become a prominent topic. Never before has their quality, quantity, and verbiage been examined so closely. So as a recruiter, you'll quickly and intimately become acquainted with the world of job postings. And yes, it is a whole world, a world with both excellence and mediocrity, a world that covers just about every industry and nearly every position within, a world with its unspoken rules and industry-specific norms. It's the place where employers and recruiters working on their behalf post job descriptions in hopes of attracting the right candidates to apply. Job postings can be found everywhere these days, including social media, job posting sites, obviously, and often a company's own website. Job postings should include information such as the job title, description of the role, responsibilities, requirements, qualifications, experience, salary range, and benefits package, if any. They may also include information about the company culture and values. These descriptions and the way they are worded are important clues about the company. They reveal much more than what's on the page, including potential red flags you absolutely must be aware of. Now, when applying for a job, it's obviously important to carefully read and make sure you understand the job posting itself in order to determine if you actually meet the qualifications and are a good fit for the role. This is an absolute must before you go labeling something you encounter as a red flag. Certain positions have very strict requirements and qualifications. That doesn't mean they're being toxic. It could just be that the position or company is in a highly regulated industry, or the job is very difficult and the employer is just being as transparent as possible. But with that being said, as you browse through these different job postings, seeing various companies and their respective job descriptions, you'll start to get a sense of what feels right and what feels a little bit wrong. Here are some of the common red flags that you should keep an eye out for when applying for a new job. The listing has been posted for an extended period of time without being filled or keeps getting reposted. You know those Indeed.com postings that are always crowding the top pages? This could indicate a high turnover rate or a general lack of interest in the position. Perhaps the pay or hours are unfavorable. The employer's name is not listed, leaving you wondering who you may be working for. This could be a sign of a company that maybe got flagged by their listing website for spamming users or going against the site's rules and are thus hiding their name to keep a funnel of unaware people applying. You might see this with MLMs and also for companies that are aware of their own unpopular image and reputation with the public. The job posting advertises no experience required. While this may seem like an attractive offer, if you're desperate, it could mean that the employer plans to hire a large number of people at once, only to let most of them go shortly after. The idea being that out of all those crowds, at least some will be good. The salary or compensation package is not mentioned or is vague. This could be a sign of low pay or lack of benefits. They're getting more strict about this, especially in some states like New York and California, but it's still a rampant problem. Some jobs get around this by saying they're only commission only, but the commission could be so low that it may as well not even exist. The job postings has an uncomfortable pressure to quickly apply, followed by a rapid, often automated acceptance, and then being urged to start right away. This could be a sign of a scam or an extremely high-pressure work environment. It's not unheard of to start right away, but it's also a bit of a cause for concern, especially in a context like this. The job duties and responsibilities are not clearly defined or seem too good to be true. This could indicate an unrealistic workload or unfulfilled promise. A common tactic these days to lure people with the promise of flexible hours or work from home part-time or a crazy high starting salary. Also, is it just me or does every job title these days have the word consultant in it? But there's not a whole lot of consulting going on. The job posting requires an upfront payment or an investment from the applicant, which is almost always a scam. This should be obvious to most people, but unfortunately, people will still fall for it, most likely because they're really desperate. Low base pay, entry-level jobs with ridiculous experience or education requirements. That, along with a long list of qualifications, basically tell you that A, the company has no clue what they're looking for, and B, they'll be expecting you to do the job of several people with the pay of one. We're seeing this theme recurring quite a lot, aren't we? Now, let's say that you identified a job listing that doesn't really have any red flags, or at least too many red flags. The next logical step, of course, would be to Google the company that posted it, right? It's really crucial to know who you're going to be dealing with and what others say about them and what they say about themselves and where these two things might differ. Also, here's a little pro tip. Make sure you Google their name and then add the word scam after it. It's a neat little trick that might show you things you wouldn't otherwise see on a normal search. Just be careful though, because a lot of negative reviews or bad experiences of being at the company might also be coming from disgruntled or former employees and could be biased. They could have been fired for bad behavior, theft, or other misconduct. Glassdoor.com is another valuable resource, although it too can suffer from the same issues of problem employees who got themselves fired and then went on rants about how the company is unfair, how the culture is toxic and horrible. Still, I'd say Glassdoor is pretty reputable overall. You'll get some nice, straightforward opinions and experiences. Just make sure you take some of it with a grain of salt. Another pro tip: the best reviews are the 2 to 4 star reviews, and I'll tell you why. People will often give something 5 stars if they think it was simply good. To them, nuance or details aren't important, and often many of those people's reviews are paid for, or they just might be trying to be nice, especially if they're friends with the company or service in the industry. 1 star reviews are pretty much just people getting emotional and going on rants because of something someone has said or done bother them to the point that they decide to go online and tell the whole world. It could also be trolls or bad review bombings by rivals. Yes, even serious businesses can be guilty of being petty. The 2 to 4 star reviews hit, in my opinion, the sweet spot in terms of honesty, clear explanation, and advice. These come from the types of people who put thought into their words and write it for the reader in mind. They're taking their time to look at different aspects of things, like both strengths and weaknesses or pros and cons. That's why you'll see the not perfect score. They recognize where the value was, but also notice where the flaws were as well. Now, search engines and review sites are all fine and dandy, but what about the company's actual website? Do they even have one? If they don't, then your alarm bells should start ringing right away. But if they do have one, here are some warning signs to look out for on a company's website. The website should have a modern and mobile-friendly design that provides information about the company. If it looks outdated, doesn't explain much, and has 0 mobile integrations, they're either too incompetent to realize they need to hire a better developer, or too broke to afford a decent one, or too lazy to care. It also suggests poor leadership, as whoever is running that company will usually have the final say on what stays and what goes. Watch out for outdated or incomplete information on the site. Have you ever clicked on a link to a different page of a website and found it just blank or have an error screen? There is 0 reason for that. Either have the page up and include content, or just put it online until you have the right materials. Also, spelling or grammar mistakes, just proofread. I can't imagine anything more embarrassing than writing a serious professional page that's littered with misspellings and bad grammar. Instant loss of credibility. That's true of the job posting as well. So if the only way to contact the employer is through a form or email and there is no physical address or phone number listed, it really may be difficult to verify their legitimacy. Any reputable company will at least have some kind of physical location, even if it's just listed as a PO box. No phone number is also sketchy. So we've covered job listings and their respective websites. The last thing I want to go over are some verbiage and phrases that, although seemingly well-intended, actually indicate a terrible work environment or demands. Yep, even certain phrases in job descriptions can serve as red flags for potential burnout or lack of support from an employer. Ever heard the work hard, play hard attitude? It's going to be a lot of hard work, and the hard playing will be work that is slightly less hard, probably dressed up as something fun. Then there's fast-paced environment, meaning that the employer will overload employees and shift blame onto them if they can't keep up, thus creating a burnout culture. Another one frequently used is self-starter, which basically tells applicants that the employer is hands-off and won't provide training or support. This is common in dysfunctional companies with incompetent leadership who hope their workers can just figure it out. Then there's the laundry list of must-haves, half of which are creative ways of saying show up on time, be a team player, do your job. Those are fine. But then the other half of that must-haves list is code for actually come in early, stay late, do other people's work, work on the weekends, take on the responsibilities of a leader without the title or pay, and sacrifice your personal life. Last and definitely not least is the rockstar X, Y, and Z. Rockstar salesman, rockstar copywriter, rockstar data entry. I don't know where this term came from. I don't know why it came to be and who thought it was a good idea, but basically it's like every buzzword on this list combined. An overworked employee who's overqualified for the pay he is receiving but will not complain about it either. So I know this video may have seen him a little bit ranty, but really it's to really point fun at some of the ridiculous things we see out there on job boards. There are of course many great listings for fantastic jobs that we see online, but it is their convenience and ease of use factor that has made them not just a commodity or novelty anymore, but a necessity and a natural response to the growing use of tech in the recruiting and job seeking space. Let me know down in the comments about some of the ridiculous things you've seen on job postings as well. Are there buzzwords everywhere? Do employers have crazy demands and want everyone to be rock stars? If you enjoyed today's video, please consider supporting a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, click that bell. It really gives us the motivation and inspiration to keep going and making these videos for you. Please feel free to also follow me at Preston_Park as I try my best to also post behind the scenes content daily. Thank you so much again. We'll see you on the next one.